We're going to work on that.
I just am trying to be quiet.
Mindful of the microphone. Hi, everyone.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to part 2 of conflict resolution / episode 3 of Wooed Up.
Where spirituality meets reality. I love how I sound like a
game show, talk show host.
Yes, exactly.
You need your microphone. Oh, microphone. We have it. Oh my God. We didn't even introduce ourselves the last episode. My name's Kayla. Hi.
And I'm Tiffany. Welcome.
And we will be your hosts for this episode of Wooed Up.
And every episode going forth.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Because this is our podcast.
Because this is our podcast. Welcome. We're happy to have you.
Yes. Thank you to Breathe and Rise Collective, who's been putting this on for us and producing this. And if you enjoyed the production of the first episode, that was all them. We just came, looked pretty, spoke our truths, and they edited that shit, and it was fire, and it sounded so good.
Yeah.
Again, another sponsor is Mahal Hut Tea. Delicious. If you didn't watch or listen to the first part of episode 2, we talk about what's in this tea, so you got to go back and listen to that episode. Also, because we're going to continue a conversation.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen the episode 2, part 1 of conflict / resolution, definitely go back, give that a watch, give that a listen, because we plant some seeds. We talk about some things that we are going to continue to chat about now.
This is the truth.
This is the truth.
Also, one other disclaimer.
Oh, dumb. Tell them. Tell the people.
Let them know.
Tell the people.
We're not booed up. We're wooed up, but
Yes.
also we're not lesbians.
We're not lesbians.
And which is totally okay if you are a lesbian. That's fine. But it was just brought to our attention that people thought we were live-in lovers.
Yeah.
And we're just lovers.
Yeah,
No,
just platonic lovers. We're platonic lovers. And I am a part of the Alphabet Mafia, the LGBTQ plus community. So, if you're watching and you want to say hello, drop a comment below. I'm free.
And I'm also pansexual if we want to go there.
I know. Oh my gosh, we're really airing it all out.
We're gonna.
Yeah. I feel like I'm already sweating. I'm already sweating. But anyways, we did just want to confirm that we are actually, in fact, not. I was going to say, but I can't say it. My mom watches this. We're not, in fact, bumping cooters. I'm sorry, Mom. I know you don't like it.
Scissoring.
Oh my God. She's going to be like, oh my God. I'm sorry, Mom. I love you so much. But let's get into
Only because Kayla told me no.
Okay, we're not even going to go there. We got to leave the people wanting more. Because we actually have to kiki
I spiked that.
about our other tea. Not this tea.
Which, by the way, let's sip on this tea. Mahal Hut tea.
Freaking cheers to that, because it's so good. It's so good. Yeah,
Okay.
I can't wait to get my custom blend.
Seriously.
Okay.
For Goddess Yoga, I got it.
Yeah, we have things that we have to get into. So, do you want to take us back
To our conflict?
I
Our conflict? Our one and only conflict?
I know.
Okay. Let me hang my head in shame. I'm just kidding. No shame here.
No shame here.
So, it all started on this day. Wait, no, I'm just kidding.
I feel like, should we go back and just chat a little bit about what the last episode was before we get into the nitty-gritty of the things?
Sure.
So, just a quick reminder for everyone who watched the last episode. What Tiffany and I were talking about was a suggestion from a viewer. Shout out to you. If you know. Just trying to talk more about conflict resolution, what that looked like for both of us before the start of our spiritual journey, and then currently now to where we are in the present moment. How we feel about conflict resolution, the ways that we would go about that. Has that changed for us at all since we've gone down this road of alignment and better self-growth and self-understanding? And then, how do we go about making those changes, experiencing those things, and growing from that? So that's a little bit about what we talked about last episode. If you weren't tuned into that, we definitely got much deeper there. But we did also allude to a circumstance and situation that me and my platonic bestie had gone through. And so for all of my nosy people that are out there in the world, this one is for you, because he's about to spill some tea, honey, with so much love and respect for each other.
Absolutely. Beautiful recap.
Thank you.
great memory. I'm so glad you did that recap because my memory is
No, it's
out
the
the
tea.
dough.
It's the tea.
It's really,
Yeah,
it's getting the juice up in
it's
there.
zinging. Yeah, the synapses are synapsing.
I'm sweating.
Yeah.
The juices are flowing.
I know. There's a lot of ski eats that are happening.
Woo, woo.
Okay.
All right, so I guess I'll take it away because it was my issue that I brought up to you.
We won't call it an issue. It was just a thing that happened.
It was an issue though for me, and it was an issue that I created. I will fully own that. That's okay.
Okay.
So, if you guys watched the first episode, you know that I am a coach. I'm a certified coach, and I worked 6 months to get that certificate. I've been working to try to get clients, and then I may not have mentioned that on the very first episode, but I recently decided that the type of coaching I want to do is not what I was advertising or talking to people about, or even what's on my website. And so I'm currently in transition with that to find what my niche is. I know what it is, but it's just about going back in, revamping that, redoing my website, and getting that going. So meanwhile, I've had no clients. I've picked up a full-time job again, and I love my job thoroughly.
And it's also aligning you to a bigger, larger purpose and passion and dream and goal that you have for yourself. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to drop that little golden nugget.
Thank you, baby.
Of course. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. And it's aligning with my coaching, I guess, idea that I had that really does actually align with me. And so I am forever thankful and grateful to that. And along the way, you know, I also need some coaching, and I have a great coach that I have hired and that I'm also co-hosting a retreat with soon in July in Tulum, Mexico. So excited about. But Kayla will sit and help me through my issues and coach me through my issues that I may have along this journey. And she is so incredible with coaching me and asking me these very poignant questions and these open-ended questions that are very thought-provoking. And she's expressed interest in wanting to coach. And at first I felt some type of way. I'm like, well, you know, where's your certificate? Mm-hmm. But you don't need a certificate to coach. And you certainly don't need a certificate to be a good coach. Mm-hmm. I can see that right now with Kayla. Like, that is, I genuinely think you're going to be an incredible coach. And I know that. I don't think that I know that. I've experienced it. And so when you came to me and told me that you wanted to coach, and at first I was like, huh. And then I was like, no, you know what? That aligns. That makes sense. Please coach, mm-hmm. because you're going to help a lot of fucking people. But then came the time when the first client comes through that was sent over to Kayla and not to me. And of course I started feeling some type of way. I was already having a really down day, like a bad day, that I will not go into for purposes of, well, I don't need to explain it, but.
Exactly.
Anyways, so when I heard that evening that there was a client being sent to Kayla, I was like, damn, like that's a client I could have had. And so then the wheels in my mind start turning. I don't have time to process them. I'm driving home. It's like a 5-minute drive home. I'm like, you know what? For reasons of being vulnerable and open and honest with Kayla, I mean, I live with her, I respect her, I love her. I'm just going to let her know how I'm feeling, because the way that I'm feeling, I don't want her to like feel that energy was off. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I'm just going to be vulnerable and let her know, full transparency. And so I remember coming into the home and being like, and of course, if anything I'm saying, you're like, no, that's not how it happened. Mm-hmm. Please correct me because my memory's not great. But a summary is basically, I pulled you in the kitchen and I was like, hey girl, I just want to let you know that I am feeling some type of way about you coaching, and that it is going to become like a competition, because clients that I could have gotten, you're now going to get, and it's going to be a competition for me. And I'm feeling this way, but I know that I need to work through this. And of course, that's when, you know, I'm looking for Kayla to respond, and she does. And
can I just pause you right there and just say that everything that you've said was not only how it happened, but also like the intention into going to finding resolution or expressing yourself or communicating your thoughts and your feelings, I feel like is exactly the way that I would have gone about that as well. Because at the end of the day, We have so much love for each other. Our communication skills with each other is impeccable. That's why we rarely ever have issues, because we do so well at communicating with each other.
Impeccable.
Impeccable? Is that what I said?
I think you said impeccable.
I said impeccable? Oh my God. Oh my God.
I don't actually know if that means something, but
I need more tea.
I like that we're talking about our communication. And
you know, but the thing is that I may not have said the word it is that I meant to say, but you still knew what I meant.
Exactly.
So really, at the end of the day,
and we still are gonna be on the same page.
Yeah, we're still here.
Yes.
So before we get into any of the other things, I also just want to throw that out there, that that is an impeccable approach to, you know, wanting to speak to something that you were feeling inside.
Yeah.
I think I fucked up in the way in which this continued. And just like what you were speaking about in the last episode of like understanding, respecting, and appreciating where someone is in that moment, like how important that is, not just being aware of how you're feeling about that moment. I think that was not something that I took into consideration when we, you know, continued our conversation. As Tiffany's telling me this, I'm like, no, we need to fix this. I'm like, you're my girl. Like, what are you talking about? We're there. We are quite literally on this journey together for a freaking reason. I mean, hello, here we are. And Tiffany is so inspiring. She's brilliant. She has tenacity for life and knowledge, and she's just you are like I would not be who I am or where I am in my journey without her. And so for me, when she said that, I was like, girl, you done slipped and bumped your head, because you know I know that I'm all that in a bag of chips, but so are you. And so that idea was extremely foreign to me. And that then I went into, let me explain that to her, and let me also try to fix and resolve this as someone who is a fixer and someone that wants to resolve things, not recognizing that probably wasn't the time, or not to say that it wasn't the time, because you know, that situation, everything happens how it's supposed to. That situation happened. Yep. Here we are sharing our story to all of you viewers, you know, shout out Canada, shout out Australia. And hopefully that is able to offer you guys some support in some capacity. But in that moment, in order to try to, you know, find resolution, maybe I should have taken a step back and just simply heard you and, you know, invited an opportunity and time for you to come back, or for me to touch base with you later after you had sat with that energy and that emotion.
Yeah.
But that is not what I did.
Well, and I think there's also something to be said with, and we may have mentioned this in the first episode, where it's very important when you're speaking to say what you're looking for.
Right.
I'm not looking for feedback right now. I just need you to know how I'm feeling.
Right.
We will touch base when I have been able to reflect and I'm in a better mind frame, in a better emotional state. That was on me, and I didn't do that. I just said simply, like, I need to work through it, which you know, maybe even in that time, in the emotional state that I was in, I probably should have maybe gone to my bedroom for like 15 minutes and cooled my ass down. But I was like, no, I'm already on, you know, like, let's just keep going. Let's just keep trotting this trail, because I wanted to express that to you. I wanted to be fully transparent. And so I think obviously now both of us looking back being like, well, here's where I could have gone better. Right. And so I did see you and I heard you. And I think in the moment when you were like trying to resolve the situation, I was like, there was something there. I was like, of course this is what she's going to say. Right. And so for some reason that was like not a trigger for me, but like, okay, she's going to act like everything is fine and dandy. And I'm telling her that it's not fine and dandy. But isn't it ironic that you and I just had that conversation about competition within the woo world, and, you know, other people hosting other types of yoga classes, women's circles, retreats, like, and how it can make us feel some type of way, but it's actually not something that we need to see as competition at all. It is something that we're here working together towards. Like, you cannot hold healing spaces for every human and woman in the world, and neither can I.
Nor would I want to. That's a lot. That's a lot of work.
and you can't, and you actually can't, honestly. Right. Like, whether if you are a goddess, but like if you were truly able to like hold space for everyone. energetically and physically, not everybody would want that.
Yeah, exactly.
Not everybody is made for you, and not
Yes.
everybody's made for me.
Exactly.
And that's true for everyone. And so, for example, you go to a certain yoga instructor because you like their energy. You like the way they speak. You like the way they talk, the walk that they do. Like it's of the person that you're seeking out. It's
Right.
not that
Not just the practice of it itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we already had that conversation like months prior
Yeah.
where there's no competition. But of course, that feeling is going to keep coming up. And it's something that you have to keep working through to know, like, you are you. And as long as you remain authentically you,
Yep.
you are going to be able to bring in the people that are meant for you.
1,000%.
The people that you're meant to hold healing spaces for, to guide, to lead, to help. They're going to come to you. The universe is not going to fail you. It's not going to drop the ball. So whoever was referred to you, they weren't referred to me for a reason. And I know that, and I see that, and I honor that. And I actually am thankful for that because I don't have the energy to help every single person that comes my way. And that's also part of your job as a coach, to know, like,
Right. Discernment.
You're coming to me and like, boy, I could use that bag, but like, I'm not going to be able to help you. So like, why would I waste my energy or time or your energy or time when I can refer you to you or to even Mahal? Like I could, any other coach that might be better in that scenario or might have a better even energetic match. I think you have to be discerning in that way. And so I think just at that point, I don't remember what it was. Oh, I remember what it was. It was a trigger. It was a trigger where I thought you had said, well, you're no longer actively taking clients. And I went into my bedroom and I ate whatever I was eating. I was eating this pasta all angry. I was like, oh, hell nah. I'm not actively taking clients. How could you think I'm not actively taking clients? And I remember I come back out and I was like, when did I tell you my business wasn't actively taking clients? And you just like, what? Come into the kitchen like, what'd you say? And then we start going from there and you're like, that's not what I said. I said you don't have any active clients. And that there obviously is a wound for me because I started this business and put so much energy into something that actually wasn't aligned for me. And I fully admit that. And I'm glad it's not going forward because I would be giving, I think, whatever clients I had half-ass energy because it's not something I was fully and fully aligned with, I guess.
You just hadn't fleshed out the finer details of now what you see and envision.
Yes. Yeah. And I think, and everything happens for reason,
1,000%.
divine timing.
1,000%.
So yeah, I lit up and I started yelling. And that, I know that that's when it was like for you, like, nah, you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about that part.
Yeah, no, I mean, thank you so much for sharing everything that you shared about the first portion of how that situation went, and with so much openness and vulnerability and honesty about that experience and how that felt for you. And on the back end for me being like, this is my boo. This is my girly pop. Like, there is no such thing as competition. We're in partnership. A win for you is a win for me. And we're winning together as a team. And so, trying to see and recognize where you were in that experience and that feeling, especially because we had just had that conversation a few months ago about what it looks like when other people are also in the spiritual space and offering in ways that can align to you or your business model, X, Y, and Z. So for me, there was definitely some confusion there, but also trying to, in the moment, understand your experience, where you're coming from. And I definitely wasn't aware of the things that I was saying and how that could then turn into triggers for other things that were much deeper than what it was that we were really even talking about in the first place. Yeah. But for me, whenever the yelling started happening, I was like, Goop, that was like, wait, 1 second. Hold on, wait a minute. Wait. I was shook. I was thrown because I was like, there's no way this is happening right now. Like, honestly, gooped and gobbled. And, initially I definitely really did try to keep my cool and try to communicate in a way that was how I try to communicate during conflict, which is, speaking at a normal tone voice, trying to, just speak factual matters or try to give perspective or, my different approach of like, okay, well, we're here and maybe we can be here and maybe this is what I can do to get us here, like trying to steer that. And in doing that, I hit another trigger. And then I was like, oh my God, here we go. Like, that is not what I wanted to happen. and then the energy just got escalated higher from there. And I was like, oh my God, I'm really sweating bullets because this is my girly pop. And at the end of the day, I have so much respect for you. And I was still trying to stay grounded in my energy because I don't ever want to go left on you I don't want to go left on anyone for any reason. I try really, 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 really hard to stay grounded in myself because I know what life feels like when I'm not grounded in myself. So for example, I was driving down the highway and this dude wouldn't let me merge into the left lane and I had my blinker on and I was trying to get over there. I was waiting patiently and he wasn't trying to let me over. So I said, you're going to let me over or you're going to hit me. Like that's either way it's going. He eventually let me over and then honked at me and I immediately chucked him the middle finger. Immediately, just in the mirror, just like,
hi, sir.
Yeah. And then immediately caught myself like, girl, what are you doing? That is not you. That's not your energy. That's normally you're able to see people where they are, understand it, respect it, and then that's theirs to deal with, right? And I know that within me there can be a period where I'm like, fuck it. The shoes are coming off and we're gonna go there, Yeah. But thankfully that didn't necessarily happen. I mean, I think towards the end of it, I definitely was raising my voice a little bit and got a little bit of the what that was,
finger, the hand and finger was up there like that.
Yeah, the hand and finger. I'm like
Hot.
Yeah, it definitely was that for a moment, and I definitely, don't feel proud about that for myself either because I wasn't able to maintain that grounded energy throughout the whole time, of that conversation. Yeah. But once again, that's my own journey and my own way that I'm working on, trying to make resolution through conflict and whatnot. So yeah. It was
sweating thinking about it.
Yeah, it was a back and forth moment. And it didn't necessarily end on great terms initially that night.
No.
But we definitely took some time apart to really feel our feelings and to sit in that and to reflect on that. And I really appreciate you giving me that space. And I definitely try to give you that space as well of like, we both really need to, on our own, find some semblance of groundedness in this experience without either one of us trying to come in and fix or express or explain or try to resolve or whatever the case may have been. So we definitely need to take that time.
I think also, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're great. Go ahead.
I think also there's something to be said about, you're like, oh, I didn't know I was going to hit a trigger. And it's like not your job to know what my triggers are. Like, yes, further down the line, like you'll probably learn what each other's triggers are in any relationship. But it's that person's duty to know what their triggers are and to not act on them. Like you're like to like be like, oh, I'm feeling this right now, and to remove yourself from the situation if you cannot handle that trigger. And
well, you did remove yourself
a couple times,
but then you came back.
I'm like, I'm running back in. Yeah,
but she came back.
I really did.
You did.
But I will say, and I want to say thank you to you. I don't know if I've said thank you to you, because when you spoke to me in a grounding manner and you were like, this is not something that I will allow to happen, is you raising your voice to me. I do remember there was that moment where I was like, okay, like, I'm not about to disrespect her. If that is her boundary, that is her line. Like, I'm not trying to cross that. And I felt that. Like, I felt your words. I felt your power. I felt your energy. I felt your groundedness in that moment. And I do remember I stopped yelling at that moment.
You did.
And I was like, okay, like, I'm not going to do that. And, like, she's right.
Yeah.
And so...
But not to cut you off, but you did. You got into that energy and you were speaking to me calmly, and then you hit a trigger of mine. And that's when I went... finger pointing in.
Really?
So it's like as you're talking about this and I'm like replaying that in my mind, that yes, that is exactly where for me I was like wah, 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 and was so quickly thrown out of that energy.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how that shift happened right as you were able to get grounded. Then for me it was a hard no,
Yeah. And I think, and that's the thing about, that's the beauty of life, is like life is always going to come with conflict.
Yeah.
And it's just getting to know different types of people, different people from different walks of life, nature versus nurture,
Yeah.
and learning how to maneuver that in a healthy way where you can remain feeling safe and where you can continue to provide a safe space for someone else. And don't get me wrong, it's like this shit's gonna hit the fan again for me. I know it. Like, I'm not gonna be naive. I'm not gonna have these crazy expectations that my life is gonna be blissful from here on out. But definitely what it took was some reflection, a coaching moment with my coach, and reflecting on what have my habits been, leading up to that night.
Yeah.
And even that day, we know that day was super hard for me. But the weeks leading up, I had a transition from part-time to full-time. And I'm not a morning girly. Like, I'm not. But a morning routine is so important to me. And so those 2 to 3 weeks leading up, I was not meditating. I was not journaling, maybe rarely, like on my days off. I was not doing any breath work. I was not hiking as much or going to yoga. And so trying to transition in major life transitions, not even major, just like, 30 hours to 40 hours.
Yeah.
And the time change of like, okay, now I need to do my nighttime routine instead of a morning routine, and having that reflection and knowing like, okay, girl, this is where you messed up and how you could get so back in your old habits and your old ways. Because again, just like we talked on our first episode, if you're not staying with your practices that help you for you, that you found work for you personally, it is like that. You are going to get right back into those moments where you're in your old ways of behaving, and it's quick.
Very quick.
It's quick.
Which is unfortunate and a bit scary. Yeah. But, if anything, please take this as a reminder of like, and for me as well, like when I'm not doing my stuff, I mean, you've seen me spiral, and like the last episode I was talking about, I'm more quick to sadness, and, Tiffany has seen me in the trenches of like, really, really, some really, really hard things and hard emotions, hard feelings and hard situations. And going back to that, when I wasn't doing my work, my practices, my yoga, it's the foundation behind my mental stability, then it's so easy to get down in the dumps. So this process and this journey is forever a journey. And unfortunately, but fortunately enough, we still have opportunities to grow and to heal and develop and to learn. And I think that it gets a little bit easier each time that comes by. And I think that for us to be able to have that kind of moment and then to be able to get back to our grounded energy separately, and then to be able to come back together and make resolution. And honestly, it was crazy because like for me, I understood completely why Tiffany was feeling the way that she was feeling, like why that experience happens. I was able to see the math and understand completely, and also understand like maybe where I could have been more of support for her. And so then whenever we saw each other in person, it was just a big old hug and moments of I love yous. And we did speak on it a little bit, but in my heart of hearts, like I felt like I didn't need to, like, and I felt like you didn't have to tell me anything either, even though I wanted to make sure you had your space to share, and you wanted to make sure I had space to share as well. Yeah. But we get it. Yeah. And so I know not all conflicts are going to happen that way, and not all conflicts are going to be with people that, really understand you and see you and you through and through, like your heart, your intentions. And so for us, like definitely lucky and blessed that we had this moment in experience, but we also know who each other are. Yes. I think at the core of who we are as people as well. So it made this experience and resolution to be a lot easier, and a lot quicker, in my opinion. But yeah. I think,
because I mean, just to reverse a little bit, what ended up happening was the next day, like, of course I was ashamed, embarrassed, like going back into my old ways. and whatnot. And so I sent her a voice note while she was at work the next day, like she can listen to it on her own time, explaining that I was sorry, no excuses. I know what happened. I've reflected. And she was like, I'm not in an emotional space to talk about this right now. And I was like, fair enough, like leave it be. And she'll come to me when she's in a space to talk. And then of course, when we saw each other in the kitchen, I was like, I'm so sorry, I love you. And of course it was like, what, like maybe 5 days?
Yeah.
It felt like 5 days at least, where we didn't really talk, and it's our schedules in general, I think. But definitely during that time, I was like, my fears were coming up, like of abandonment. Like, is she gonna move out my house? Like, what's gonna happen? Is this it? And that's the beautiful thing about it, is like when you're with someone in a relationship, like friendship, love, what
platonic,
familial, whatever it is, when you're with somebody and you've committed to this person to be like, I'm here for you, I love you, I see you, I hear you.
Yep.
When you do that, you provide that person the space to feel safety, and it also allows the person to have that healing room, because it's one thing to be with somebody in a relationship with someone, again, familial, friend, whatever, and they're not working on themselves. They're not healing. They're not acknowledging when they mess up. They're not acknowledging, hey, I know I need to do this, and then doing the work.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even worse when they acknowledge it and then it's an I'm sorry, and then it happens again and again and again and again.
Yeah. So I think that's the main difference for me in my past healing and conflict versus resolution. And now is I am willing to step up and be like, yo, I did this and I know where it's coming from, and I am so sorry. And let me keep working on it. Yeah. And you can, and the other person's going to see and feel that. And Absolutely. I think that's where it's so important, is find your people that are also doing the work. Yeah. Because you are who you surround yourself with. Yeah. And if you're surrounding yourself with people that are not doing the work, bam, you're going to be back in your old ways. And so I'm so thankful for you, Kayla. I don't know where I'd be without you. I don't know how the fuck I was living my life before you, but you offer a space and support and community and everything in a way that I'm so fucking lucky, and I'm so blessed, and I love you so much, and I just can't wait to continue healing and growing on this journey of life with you.
I feel the exact same way about you, Tiffany. Like, so much love, so much ditto-ness. Like, in that moment, I was literally just like, what am I gonna do without my yang? Like, I'm like, she's yang, I'm yin, she's yang. Like, we're, this, like, so opposite and so similar, and the beauty that comes from that. And just from the ways that you and I both are, and the commitment and dedication to this work, like, we have the ability to continue to inspire each other and show up for each other and give each other that space in that room to grow, and to have that accountability also with so much love wrapped around it too, to know that no matter what, like, I know that you would never do anything to intentionally hurt me, and then vice versa.
100.
And so, for anyone who's going through rough time, or who has gone through a rough time, or is struggling with conflict or conflict resolution, like, just know that it is its own journey, and, just operate with as much intention and awareness and love and groundedness as you possibly can. And hopefully that resolution will come. And even if that resolution doesn't come right then and there in that moment, hopefully it comes sooner rather than later. And if not, we find ways to make do and make peace when we have to. Yeah. So.
And your community is out there to support you and to provide the healing spaces. Yeah. I promise you, when I was wondering if there was anyone out there, hello,
is anyone out there?
Please. They are, and we are, and Breathe and Rise Collective is out there offering all the spiritual leaders spaces and events. So please find your people and continue doing the work.
Yeah.
And thank you for listening to our
Yes.
third episode.
Yes, episode 3.
Whoop, whoop.
So regardless of how you found this podcast, just know that you can also find us, find this video through the Breathe and Rise Collective platform, through Patreon. If you're not already subscribed to Patreon through Breathe and Rise, I highly recommend it. You'll find access to all of our videos, meditations, events. I mean, we're going to be doing a women's retreat in Juneteenth. So there's a lot of great things that Breathe and Rise is putting together. Highly suggest that you subscribe and connect in with them. You can find us also on Instagram.
Yes.
My Instagram name is Golden Glowing Goddess, goddess with 1 D. And
1D.
1D, exactly. Not 2, just 1.
My Instagram is T_Meg, and I've created an Instagram for the Wooed Up podcast. That is the name of the Instagram handle.
Yeah, Wooed Up.
Yep, Wooed Up. And we have YouTube.
Yep.
And we have a TikTok, right?
Okay, so I still need to. I need to put the TikTok together.
Oh, my girl hasn't done TikTok yet.
Yeah, coming soon.
Sorry,
Coming soon.
TikTokers.
Yeah, but we're working on it, and
Is
you'll
that
get a
what
lot more of the
Is that what you call yourselves?
TikTokers. No,
Or
I
your
don't.
TikToks?
No, I don't even say
Tiki
anything. Okay, I think that's where this ends.
Okay.
I think this is where this ends. I feel complete. Do you feel complete?
Namaste.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us and tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.